All right, good morning. Thanks for stopping by. So, I'm not down here at my dad's just to do yard work. I know my last 3 videos have been just yard work, but I'm down here because my dad's having some health issues and I'm not going to elaborate on it. That's a private matter. But that's the main reason I'm here. But the reason I've been showing all this yard work videos, well, it's a couple of reasons. First thing is, it needed to be done, you know. Some things are kind of falling apart around here. So I've been getting the yard in order, getting a lot of things done, put in a well pump, cleaned out the goldfish pond, cut all the grass, did the trimming, cut up all those bamboo canes that were invasive and taking over the yard. And today's job is to get this algae that's growing on, or moss, whatever it is, it's growing on, I guess it's the north side of the house. This house had vinyl siding put on it many years ago, back when vinyl siding, everybody thought it was a good idea. Well, it's not bad, but I guess it's a good fix for remodeling a house. But see all this stuff that's growing back here? It's like a mildew looking stuff. See this dark stuff? It's kind of greenish black. So there's a product you spray up here and then you hose it off and it takes care of it. It's only on this side of the house. So that's what I'll be doing today, clearing out some more junk around here. Man, this house, let me tell you a story about this house. Here, let's walk all the way around it. This house was built, I'm guessing, around 1880. It's been remodeled many times since then. But the frame, the bones of this house have been here since 1880, I think, because I've got a picture in there somewhere of my grandpa standing in front of this house about where the van is now. He was about 4 years old, so that would have been 1923. He was standing right here. And the whole family, my grandpa's grandpa, my grandpa's grandma, uncles, aunts, they were all standing right here when the picture was taken. And when you look at the house in the background, it was an old dilapidated house with old lapboard siding on it. So the house was old in 1923, so I'm thinking it was probably built in 1880s. But my grandpa remodeled it in the 50s when he got back. Well, it was right after he got back from World War II. He remodeled it. And here's another interesting story. My dad was born in that house, in that bedroom right there, in 1941. December 1941, my dad was born right there. That's back when they had midwives come around and kids were born in the house. And let's see, my grandparents, they must have married. They married on Christmas Day of 1939 or 40. And my dad was born a little over a year later, right there in that bedroom. Now, when my grandpa inherited this house from his grandpa. It's been in the family since the late 1800s. And when my dad got it, he added on this addition. That's a bathroom and a laundry room. The house used to stop right here. And they had, I think my grandpa put this metal roof on. The metal roof will last for a long time. It's got a great roof on it. But it's an old house. I mean, back when they built it with real tough lumber. I remember my grandpa called a guy to add on this carport. This must have been back in the late 90s. And then when my dad inherited the house, he had this concrete slab poured in here. It used to just be dirt. But before this garage, there used to be a building. that sat right here. It was a one-car garage because back then families just had one car. And it sat right here. It was a big shop in the back of it, and I don't know what happened to it. I don't remember it getting torn down, but it must have come down in the 90s or late 80s. And my grandpa built this old workshop, probably in the 50s. I want to show you the lumber that was used to build this. You can't get lumber like this anymore. This is old rough cut. Look at the rafter. You cannot get a board like this anymore. It's rough cut. That's a 2x6. You can't get a 2x6 now. They're 1.5 by 5, but they call them 2x6s. Look at that. Look at the lumber in this stuff. No plywood. It was back before plywood. This is planks for the roof. And it used to have shingles on top. Now it's got metal roof. But this is when stuff was built to last, you know. My grandpa, well, I guess that's where I get my tinkering from. He could build or fix anything. He worked, when he got back from World War II, he was a roofer for a while and a builder. And then he eventually went to work in a cotton mill as a mechanic. He kept all their machinery in there running. And he did that for, I guess, 20, 30 years, retired from that. Had a heart attack at work when he was 63. And back then they locked the gate at the mill. They wouldn't let you out until the whistle blew. Can you imagine them doing that to an employee now? The man had to sit there in the lunchroom until the whistle blew, till he could go to the hospital. Unbelievable the way they treated workers. But he recovered from that and went on back to work until he was 65, and then he retired, you know, Social Security, stuff like that. My grandpa lived to be 85, and he was the toughest, strongest man I will ever know in my lifetime. I came down here to visit him. I was living up in Birmingham, Alabama, and I came down here to visit him when he was in his 70s. He was going up a ladder when I came in the yard, and I said, "What are you doing?" He was going up there to fix the roof. Had to coax him down off the ladder, you know. But my grandparents, my grandma died 3 years before my grandpa, and she went in for heart valve surgery and died in surgery. It was terrible. She was the sweetest, most considerate, giving woman you'll ever meet. She never thought of herself. I almost broke down there. Let me regain my composure. She never thought of herself. Everybody came before her, and she deserved to live like a queen, is what she deserved. Before she went in for heart surgery, it was right before Christmas. And you know what that lady did? She cooked an entire Christmas dinner and put it in the freezer in case, I guess, maybe she had some kind of idea that she wasn't going to make it through. I don't know. But we got back to the house after we left the hospital, and somebody opened the freezer and looked in, and there was an entire Christmas dinner in there for us that she had already prepared. That's the heart of my grandma. Be right back. Okay, yeah, I'll get emotional when I talk about my grandparents. They were just that good. I remember when I was about 5 years old, I was over here. My grandma was babysitting me. She did it all the time. We were sitting on that front porch. There's a little rocking swing on that porch. I think it's still there. That thing's got to be 50 years old. I think it's still sitting up there. But we were sitting on it, and she would lay me over in her lap and there's a train nearby, and she'd hear the train whistle, and she'd sing this little song to me and just pet my head like I was a little puppy. Yeah, she was a great one. My grandpa was a great one. And I just have a lot of memories. You know, we'd come over here. I spent so much time here growing up. There used to be a big elm tree right here, and the driveway come up and made a circle, and the elm tree was right in the middle. And this all used to be sandy. Somehow the grass took over. I guess after the elm tree died, it's more sunshine here now. It used to be really shady, and I had all my little toys, my little Tonka trucks and everything, and I would play right here in the sand and build little roads and everything for my Tonka trucks. And it was just an all-day thing, just playing out here. And I would look up at the porch, and my grandma would be standing up at the top saying, "Come in, you need to eat." Yeah. This is a lot of stuff, a lot of memories here. But yeah, you would look at this house. I mean, it's nothing special. It's not a big house. It's bigger now than it's ever been with the additions on it. But it always seemed like a big house when I was a little kid. Coming over here to my grandparents' house seemed like coming to a big house. A lot of Christmases were had in here. Thanksgivings. A lot of good times. But my grandma died in 2001 and my grandpa in 2004. And he suffered from arthritis the last few years so bad because he worked his body to death. He was a hard-working man. Oh, let's go to the backyard. I want to show you something. A story my dad told me about my grandpa, and I'll tell you just how hard-working and how strong he was. All right, so the well has always been here since, I'm guessing, 100 years. But they never used it after they got on city water. It just sat covered, and grass had grown over. You wouldn't even know it was here. But when my dad got the house, he got that up and running, and then not long ago it all broke down, so that's what I come down here to put the new pump in. Now it's all working again. But he doesn't use it for drinking. He just uses it for watering the yard and filling the goldfish pond. If you go back 3 videos, I explain how the pump runs underground here in a pipe and it fills up the goldfish pond. But anyway, for some reason, I can't remember the story, it doesn't really matter. My grandpa, there's a pipe under the ground here, and it goes all the way down to the very corner of the yard. He dug a trench about 3 feet deep with a pickaxe by himself. And back then, the pipe was like terracotta pots, just a terracotta cylinder, and you fitted it all together. I don't know what the pipe was for. It was to drain something. It doesn't really matter, but the story is about how hard he worked. He dug that whole thing by himself. I don't know, that's 60, 70 yards, and it goes all the way down to the corner. But it was for something to drain out of. And he put all those little cylinders of like clay pots together to make a pipe, and you had to cement it all together, and it's still under the ground here to this day. It's under here somewhere. And my dad said my dad was a little boy, and he remembers him doing it all the way down there. He said it didn't take him long. He dug so hard and fast, he didn't have to take breaks and rest like I do. Yeah, I'm not half the man my grandpa was. Not even close. I saw a picture of my grandpa that was taken when he was about 30 years old. He was ripped. Not an ounce of fat on him. 6-pack, muscles. And I need to take you in there and show you a picture of my grandparents when they were married. They look like movie stars. You wouldn't believe how good looking they were. I'll see if I can find those pictures and see if I can insert it into this video. But you would think, well, they look better than any movie stars. They were unbelievably good looking people. But I'll try to find that and I'll insert it here in the end of the video. And we'll start wrapping this up. Well, I went in the house, I looked around, I can't find those pictures. But anyway, just imagine gorgeous, a gorgeous young couple that looks like they should have been movie stars. But we will wrap this up and I'll check in later. Thanks for watching. Take care, be well, and smash the bell.